any one of you, if you really learned how and really invested intelligently and you really put in the work and were consistent over the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, you all could be millionaires. I know that to be true.
Keep showing up, particularly if you're somebody who lacks confidence, because you'll understand and you might realize, hopefully quickly, that you're better than you realize. Next Level Nation, welcome back to another very special, as always, Next Level You weekly live podcast. Week number 89, we are going to give you 5 hard truths that help you grow. Alan and I have been feedback partners for the last 4.5, 5 years, whatever it has been. And it is more often than not the difficult truths that create the greatest growth. Our goal in this is not to make you feel bad. Our goal is for you to question things. This is going to be a little bit hardcore, but remember, Next Level You is heart-driven. It's from the heart, but it's no BS. We want to tell you the truth. We really, really want to have impact on your life, and sometimes that requires the hard truths that we are going to give you.
All right, so as you know, this is a live podcast. The first 40 minutes will be Kevin and I talking about the 5 hard truths that help you grow.
5 of them.
Yep, 5 of them. And then there's a 20-minute Q&A section. So wherever you are watching this, on LinkedIn or Facebook or in our private Facebook group, you can comment. Amy is behind the scenes. Amy will anonymously read your question. So you're completely safe. It's completely anonymous. Please ask questions. Save your questions to the end and get some awesome answers.
And if you are listening to the replay, make sure you join us live next week so you can ask questions, and you'll be on Next Level You if we answer your question.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous.
All right. Number 1, Kev, are you ready to rock?
I'm ready to rock. So again, heart-driven, but no BS. This is going to be a little bit hardcore, but with all the love in the world, that is always our goal. Number 1, the first hard truth that will help you grow. Your friends are unintentionally holding you back, and I'm going to add, your friends/family are unintentionally holding you back. Tara and I went to the grocery store, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 months ago. And she said, do you want to come in? I'm going to run in and get something. I said, no, I'm going to stay in the car. I want to do an Instagram video that I'm going to post. And I was thinking to myself, what's a good video? Like, what can I talk about that will not only inspire people, but it will make them think, right? That's our goal. If you start thinking differently, you start acting differently, and your life ends up different. And I said, I'm going to do something on friends and family. And I just picked my phone up and I said, let me just talk about what I feel. And the premise of this video was, how can your friends and your family truly, truly know what's best for you? You're the person who has those thoughts before you go to sleep. You're the person who thinks about that thing when your alarm clock goes off. You're the person who has those lonely or exciting nights by yourself. You're the person who truly knows what's best for you. Now, when I say, and Alan says, your friends/family are unintentionally holding you back, the big word there is unintentionally. If I don't know what Alan wants 100% in his future, and honestly, I don't, right? I have a pretty good idea of what Alan wants, but not to the extent he does. Anytime I give Alan unsolicited advice, or I say, hey, you should do this, or you should come here, or you should be this way, I am creating the potential for Alan to go off course. And a lot of us do not have the courage yet, or we don't have the boundaries yet, or we don't have the belief yet to say, hey, thank you so much for that feedback. I really do appreciate it. And I'm grateful you took the time to give it to me. Unfortunately, I'm going to do my thing. And that can take us off course if we don't have the courage to do that. In the very beginning of this journey, Alan and I were told by many people, and we've been told by people along this way, number 1, you should never have a partner in business. It's unreasonably dangerous and it never works out. Number 2, you shouldn't have this way. You should do this in a different manner. You shouldn't do 7 episodes a week. You shouldn't be on YouTube. All of those people, they didn't necessarily understand what we wanted and why we were doing what we're doing. So I just think it's very important for you to run that through your filter of, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well does this person actually know what I want? How well do they realize what I want my future to look like? How well do they understand the past that I've lived? And the most important one for a lot of this and a lot of people, how well do they understand me right now in my current? It's very hard to give somebody advice if you don't know them as a whole person. And it's even harder to set the boundary and say no if you don't have that courage yet.
You're unintentionally. Your friends and family are unintentionally holding you back. Your friends and family have limiting beliefs. They have misunderstandings. And it's not them purposely holding you back. It's their misbeliefs and misunderstandings holding you back. So I'm going to tell a quick story. Never told this before. All right, it's 6 years ago, and I'm at the beginning of my transformation after my car accident, my fitness transformation in particular. I quit drinking, and I started going very heavy into bodybuilding. I traded the label of alcoholic for bodybuilder, and I went all in on fitness, on my way to becoming a fitness coach, a fitness competitor, and a fitness model. I was told that that was silly and dumb, and that wasn't a good idea. 40 photo shoots later, 3 competitions later, I was still being made fun of for that. I remember I used to host parties at my house often. We lived on a lake, and we had bonfires and stuff like that. And I wasn't drinking at the time, but I invited a lot of my friends over. It was a summer night, and we were playing Can Jam. We were playing bags, which is, what do you call that? Cornhole. And I had just met my dear friend and fitness coach at the time, he's no longer my fitness coach, Nate. And he and I would work out together, we would talk, we'd play basketball after he would get out of work, things like that. And I remember I invited him to a party. He was a brand new friend, a brand new association in my old world friend group. And basically, these are friends that I had in high school. These are some friends that I had from college. These are some friends that I had from corporate. And I brought Nate into my world, into my old friend group. And I'll never forget this. He came over late at night. I think it was like 9:30 p.m. And a lot of people were drinking. A lot of people were smoking weed. A lot of people were having fun. Again, bonfire, not taking anything from them. That's what people do. And he brought a bag of chicken, raw chicken, and then cooked it on my grill outside after he had just left the gym. The reason he was late to the party is because he was at the gym. And some of my friends made fun of him behind his back. They made fun of him. Like, who brings a bag of chicken to a party? Nate, with all due respect, is in better shape than every single one of those people. And it's because he brought his bag of chicken to the party. Your friends are unintentionally holding you back because their beliefs are not accurate, because their beliefs are limiting, because they don't understand that bringing a bag of chicken to a party at 9:30 p.m. is actually the reason why he's in the best shape out of all of us. And I remember back then thinking to myself, like, I can't believe he's getting made fun of. That's actually really cool. And I actually ended up having some of the chicken, which was great. But that's my point. He brought raw bag of chicken to a party, and he got made fun of for it. But that's also why he's in the best shape ever. So if you want really high results, you're going to have to understand that some of your old friends and old family members who, quite frankly, don't want those same results and don't have those same standards and don't have those same beliefs and don't have those same deeper understandings, they don't get it. And that's okay. I'm not saying to villainize them. I'm just saying you have to understand that if you want to be in better shape, you have to get around people who are in better shape. If you want to be wealthier, you have to get around people who also want to be wealthy. If you want to be more in love, you have to get around other couples who are in love and who are doing the work behind the scenes to be even more in love.
Even throwing it back to our fitness journeys and we were doing shows, I'm sure you had a bunch of people say like, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. It's not healthy. And my family was like, what are you doing? And it's like, honestly, in retrospect, you are right. It's not healthy, but this is what I'm choosing to do. So this is my choice. So on, you can't see the whiteboard on camera, but I have a whiteboard over here and I have my 90-day goals: health, wealth, and love. My wealth goals in terms of getting new clients, awesome. I will exceed those. I think my goal was to get 6 new NLPS clients, Next Level Podcast Solutions, from November 1st to February 1st. I think I've already exceeded that. Awesome. Very happy about that. Second one is fun, unique experiences with Taryn. I think the goal was 12, one a week, and we're on pace for that. The one thing that's lagging right now is fitness. So my goal was to lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks, which is a pound a week. And that's a reasonable thing to do. Like you can do that. Why do I not have the result that I want in fitness? Because you do not get what you want. You get what you work for. That is number 2, the second hard truth that will help you grow. I have worked very, very, very hard on Next Level Podcast Solutions. I've been on a ton of free calls, a ton of other shows, had a ton of opportunities. Awesome. Tara and I have done much better at planning date nights. Awesome. I have not been willing to pay the price to hit my goal weight on the date that I have set. The other night I had pizza. Last night I had leftover pizza. It just hasn't been as much of a priority. Now, you might know this intuitively. You might say, well, Kev, that's everybody knows that. Yes, but not everybody admits that. There's something empowering about me realizing that the reason I am not getting to my goals is because of me. It's not the pizza's fault. I'm the one who decided to get it. It's not the ice cream's fault. I'm the one who decided to get it. And it's empowering to realize that when you know how to do something and you're not doing it, it's probably, and where you're not getting the results you want, it's because you're not putting the effort that you need to put. And again, I want to raise your awareness of, look, I struggle with these truths too, right? It's hard for me to wake up and say, oh my God, I had pizza last night. I know I'm going to weigh in more than I should. It's difficult. It's a difficult truth. It's a difficult piece of feedback. It's a difficult mirror. But I also know that if I take extreme ownership, I'm not going to regret it at the end. I'm getting the feedback along the way. So number 2, you do not get what you want. You get what you work for. You get what you do consistently. You get what you show up for. You get the hard mirrors you face. You get the mountains you're willing to climb. At the end of the day, we talk about the work. The work is the most important thing. And I cannot shy away from that, especially when we're talking about hard truths that will help you grow.
I went to, as many of you know, Worcester Polytechnic Institute, and it's a tech school, a ridiculously challenging engineering school. And I did one of the hardest majors, which was computer engineering. And I was very fortunate to be around some of the smartest people I've ever met in my entire life. And it's fascinating, again, this principle. You don't get what you want, you get what you work for. I know one person who was, quite frankly, the top in the country in high school in electronics. Awesome dude, big fan, friend of mine. So if he's out there listening, nothing personal. But his work ethic was not nearly as high as someone else in our friend group who wasn't nearly as naturally talented. And guess who graduated with high distinction? And the key here is you don't get what you want, you get what you work for. Everybody wants to do well in school, for the most part. Everybody wants to be wealthier. Everybody wants to be healthier. Everybody wants to be more in love. We do relationship talks every single weekend, and we just surpassed our 63rd week in a row. And there's this one couple that we're coaching that is truly extraordinary because they're doing the work. We had an hour-long conversation on Saturday, and there were some really heavy mirrors on that conversation. And if you were to sit this couple down and talk to them, like, what made the difference? Why are you guys flourishing at such a great level? Why did you guys move in together? Why were you guys struggling at one point and now you're so in love and so connected and so open and so honest? And their answer would be, we were willing to do the work. We invested in coaching. We invested in ourselves. We looked in the mirror. This one person I'm referring to, and I'll keep it anonymous, what he thought was the problem in his relationship was not the real problem in his relationship. Once he identified the real root cause and took responsibility, now the relationship is flourishing. Go figure. You don't get what you want. You get what you work for. Being super in love, being super in shape, being super wealthy, and not living paycheck to paycheck is not just going to happen. The future does not get better by default. It gets better by design. You have to put in the work. And one thing that I'll say here too, everyone out there envisions someone they know who always puts in the work. Just think of that person. Think of the first name of this person. They work and they work and they work. They don't have all the answers. They're not perfect, but they put in the work day in and day out, more so than anyone else you know. Think of that person. All right, now I want you to contemplate, where is that person going to be in 10 years? Are they going to be happy, healthy, and in love? Are they going to be fulfilled? Are they going to be successful in their career? Are they going to have money, or are they going to be paycheck to paycheck? We all know the answer. Now, I want you to also think of someone who, honestly, if you were really truthful with yourself, if you were really truthful, uncomfortably truthful, they're kind of lazy. They're entitled. They take their gifts for granted. They don't learn often. They don't work that hard. They do the bare minimum. They got a little ego on them, maybe. Okay, think of that person. All right, you have their name? All right, now contemplate where they're going to be in 10 years. Okay, are they going to be in great shape? Are they going to have the house of their dreams? Are they going to have a magnificent marriage or relationship? Are they going to be happy, healthy, wealthy, and in love? Are they going to be the best version of themselves? We all know the answer. You don't get in life what you want. Everybody wants. You get in life what you work for.
Alan, and I hope you don't mind if I do this, but we were talking about this earlier. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you with your fitness results?
Oh, brutal.
How much effort? Right?
Not great. Yeah. This is the least happy I've been. This is the least fulfilled I've been in my fitness in a long time. And it's because of my effort. I haven't tracked calories in such a long time.
Likewise. Yeah. It was genuinely difficult to start. It was difficult to start that again for me. So this is the heart-driven, this is the part, like this is the importance for us. I have empathy for anybody who's dealing with any of these things. But we also want to highlight, like, this is a real thing that you might be dealing with, because Alan and I have dealt with it too.
For sure.
Right? And number 3, I think, ties into that better than any of these. Alan and I are really good examples of this. Alan, I don't think it's as relevant as I thought. You'll know when I say this. But number 3 is you either believe in yourself too little or too much. Alan and I were under the understanding in the very beginning of us meeting that Alan believed in himself too much. Now I'm starting to think that that's not accurate. I think he has a higher awareness that I was capable of understanding. But I definitely believe in myself too little. That is for certain based on all the evidence I have. And we have seen this with many, many people. I'm working with somebody right now who is very young, but has a ton of potential and is wise well beyond her years. She's great at speaking. She's great at writing. She's great at taking direction. She's unreasonably heart-driven, the sweetest person in the world, but she struggles with confidence. She believes too little of herself. And on the other end, I worked with somebody in the past who had a cycle. This person would doubt themselves, get a result, and then their ego would go very high, and they would lose that sense of humility. They would stop asking for help. They would assume that they're going to succeed regardless of their circle, and they would crash and burn, and then they wouldn't believe in themselves, and that cycle would repeat itself. We talk about the drive to 5. If you're low on the drive to 5, you probably doubt yourself. If you're high on the drive to 5, you probably believe too much in yourself. And when you doubt yourself, you don't take action. When you believe in yourself too much, you don't think you need to take action. So it really is, the hard truth here is you're probably one of these people on one end, and action is really the cure-all, but you have to figure out what kind are you. Are you low on the drive to 5? Are you high on the drive to 5? And then you have to start unlearning that. Even Alan and I had a deep conversation today about something, and I'm still unlearning the lack. I'm unlearning the scarcity. I'm unlearning being the stupid one in the room or whatever it may be. So this is a never-ending process. And these hard truths, maybe you're looking at them for the first time in your life, and you'll continue to look at these, but they'll be less hard, less painful, and less of a mirror as you get going.
And this is super important to understand too, because, and I think it's important for us to explain Drive to 5 for anyone out there who's listening or watching that's new. So on the low end of Drive to 5, and I know Kevin mentioned it briefly, you basically, yes, you believe in yourself too little. You struggle with self-worth. You aren't confident. You don't take action because basically the best way to describe it is you don't believe that you deserve a mentor, or you're too afraid to get one. Whereas on the other end of Drive to 5, this is an inflated view of self. Okay, so on one end, it's the turtle shell, the person who hides from their true greatness because they don't believe they're truly great. And then the other side is the pufferfish. The pufferfish actually isn't strong. It's puffing itself up so that the shark won't eat it because the shark will think it's dangerous, when in reality it's actually weak and frail. And that's kind of the other side. So remember, the low end of Drive to 5 doesn't believe that they deserve a mentor or they're too afraid to get one. The high end of Drive to 5 doesn't believe they need a mentor. And so 5 is centered. 5 is the accurate thinking. 5 represents the centered, virtuous truth of who you actually are. In other words, Kevin is stronger than me. I'm the first to admit that. But I know that I know more about business than Kevin does. That's okay. See, I have no problem admitting where I'm not good, but I also have no problem admitting to myself where I am good. I don't know anything about cars. I don't garden. I suck as a cook. I'm the first to tell you where I suck, but I also know where my strengths are. And what I'm saying is, it's not important for you to go shout to the world what you're great at. I think there's value in that to some extent, especially if you're on the low end of Drive to 5. But what I am saying is that you have to know it within yourself. If you don't know you're a great speaker, what are the chances you jump on stage? If you think you're a great speaker with 0 reps, when you jump on stage, you will be humbled, which is a good thing. The puffer fish needs to be humbled. The turtle shell needs to be poured into and believe in themselves more. So the hard truth here is, you either believe in yourself too little or too much. And by the way, it varies. We've had some people who started out not believing in themselves enough. Then they started to believe in themselves. They started to keep the promises they make to themselves. They got on the team. They got on PPT. They started doing better. And then eventually it was like, now they thought they were great. And that's okay. It's a constant fluctuation. I've been guilty of being on both ends of this. We all have one natural tendency. Kevin's tendency is to go home, which is to be the turtle shell. My tendency is to be the pufferfish. Okay, but both of us are working hard every single day to make sure we're taking action. Action is the cure-all. If you think you're a magnificent speaker, go speak in front of 1,000 people. Prove it. You might just get humbled. If you think you're a terrible speaker, speak in front of 10 people. You might realize you're much better than you think. The key is action will keep you in the truth. And that's what we want you to leave here with today.
Hey there, Next Level University. Greg here. I'm a proud graduate of both the second quarter of group level coaching in 2021 and the last quarter of group coaching in 2021. Both of them were fire experiences. They give you tools to grow in your health, wealth, and love. And so if you want to grow more as a person, you're looking for a team of individuals who are also looking to grow, I highly recommend doing group coaching. It will grow you as a leader. It will grow you as an individual. It will grow you as a teammate. So I highly recommend, as you go into 2022, if you're looking to get it off with a bang, just shoot out the gates. Group 5 of group coaching is starting up beginning of January. I highly recommend jumping in on that opportunity and growing in both your health, wealth, and love, and learning from Alan and Kevin and all the great tools they have. They give it to you at a way discounted price. I hope everyone has a blessed 2022. Happy New Year.
And that's why I always say keep showing up, particularly if you're somebody who lacks confidence, because you'll understand and you might realize, hopefully quickly, that you're better than you realize. And on the other end, like Alan said, you need a level of humility. You need a level of, it's not all just going to happen. And I think we've seen that. That's fairly common, is that the people who are higher on the belief in too much, like they believe in themselves too much, they often think, well, it's all going to work out. Like, I'm going to be successful. And it's like, well, sometimes you need some of that scarcity. You need some of that extra necessity to kick you in the butt and make you do things that you wouldn't normally do. Number 4, this one is a little hardcore, but please hear me out on this one. Hear me out on this one. Number 4, everybody is good enough to participate. Not everyone's good enough to win. So, Alan and I have both done fitness competitions, and there's something super, super inspiring about being at a fitness competition. There's a lot of people who have worked very, very, very hard over many months, in some cases years, to get where they are, and they're getting up on stage and being unreasonably vulnerable. Alan had board shorts on, like you would wear to the beach. I literally had basically a Speedo on, because I did a bodybuilding show. There's not much more vulnerable place to be than on stage in your underwear in front of a bunch of people that you know. But at these fitness shows, there are a couple different types of competitors. There are the people who have dieted extremely hard and they've done their cardio and their goal was to win this show, and I commend them. And there's also some people who set this as a goal, okay? And this is something I'm sure I think Alan had somebody on stage with him that was an older gentleman, and his goal was to get into the best shape of his life so he could do a fitness show. His goal wasn't necessarily to win. His goal was to show up as the best version of himself. Other people, their goal was to win the trophy. Maybe they do this for a living. So this is the point I want to make with this. Everybody, intrinsically, as a human being, deserves the ability and the space to step on stage and strut their stuff. They do. But not everybody deserves and is capable of winning that show. And that's okay. That's okay. I can go play pickup basketball whenever I want, right? But I'm not capable of playing in the NBA. And I think it's just empowering to admit that. I'm not taking anything away from the people who step on stage with just the goal of being the best versions of themselves. They're using this as motivation. This is the pot at the end of the rainbow for them. I love that. That's amazing. I think that's amazing. But if you go on living your life expecting to win everything you do, even if you're not necessarily capable, if you're not the best, if that's not your area of expertise, then you're going to be disappointed a lot. When, again, if you just realize the hard truth of, look, you're not going to be the best at everything you do. You can be really good at certain things, but it's not going to be everything. And I just think it's an important distinction to have, because if you go through your life assuming you're going to win at everything, you're going to be let down a lot.
Everybody doesn't win. Everybody can win, but not at everything. So Kevin and I, at this point, we have so much data on so many people from all over the world that it's become clear. Certain patterns have become clear. We have a bird's eye perspective on people's ability to be successful in certain things. I have certain clients of mine who can be world-class in certain arenas, but very clearly could not be world-class in another arena. And so I'm going to ask Kevin a question here to really drive this point home. But like, Kevin is on the shorter end. I think 5'6" or 5'7", right?
I appreciate you giving me a couple extra inches. That's very
okay.
Very gracious. 5'5", 5'4", depending on how much I squat the day before. You know,
You're funny. So when Kevin says I'm not going to play in the NBA no matter how hard I try, can you just go into that? Like, what is that truth for everybody here? Because everyone has talent and natural inclinations and things that they're naturally good at. Yeah, go into it. Go ahead.
Dave Meltzer talks about quantum abilities, and for a long time I didn't know what that meant, and I still don't fully know what that means, to be honest with you, because it's very deep. But you have to think. You could say to me, well, all right, Kev, you're 5'4". There's been players in the NBA that were 5'4", and it's like, yes, sure, there have been. Muggsy Bogues, and there was a couple of them, I think. But you also have to understand, they probably had a basketball in their hand when they were 3 years old. They probably went and played pickup, and they probably played high school, and they probably played college, and then they got drafted in the NBA, and they were really good at what they were really good at. I don't have that quantum ability. That's not in my blood. I'm built like a rock. So when I fall in the water, I sink. I don't get vertical. I'm not super athletic when it comes to those kind of movements. Could I be a decent basketball player? Sure. I'm sure I could. But I'm not going to play in the NBA. And the reason I chose this point, Alan, there's a reason why. Because there's levels to speaking and influencing. And there's a lot of motivational speakers, and Alan and I could do this, and I probably have been guilty of this in the past, where you and I could get on stage and say, anybody in here can do anything you set your mind to. Whatever it is, no matter what. If you just keep working really, really, really hard, you can do it. And I think that's misleading people. I do. I think that's misleading people because I'm not going to beat Michael Phelps in swimming, no matter how hard I try. The man is 6'5" or 6'6", and his arms are 12 feet long. He's built like a dolphin. I'm built like a manatee. It's just not gonna happen. And again, there's something empowering about living in the truth. It's okay that I can't beat him. That's not a limiting belief. That's a realistic belief, and that's okay. That's okay. Now more than ever, I realize that you can lead somebody down the wrong path if you don't give them the actual truth. Now, that doesn't mean I don't want you to chase your dreams. Of course I do. Of course, that's what we're all about. That's what we're all about. But I also think it's important to call out the elephant in the room.
Yeah, and just because you can't be faster than Michael Phelps at swimming doesn't mean you shouldn't get in the pool.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the other key part here. And so it's really important to understand, too. And Kevin and I just were talking earlier. We were prepping for this, and it was like, I said, Kev, what if you and I went into the gym and did the same exact weight training workout for the same 6 months, same reps, same sets, same exercises? Who's going to be bigger and stronger? He's like, honestly, me. Okay, if we did the same thing with long-distance running, it would be me. My legs are twice the size of Kevin's. I'm all legs. And I can just run like the freaking wind. And I know it because when I'm on the treadmill, I'm like, this is really easy. I don't know why people think this is hard. I don't run that often. And of course, I'm not like a marathon runner. So there's people that would wipe the walls with me because I don't put in the work. Okay. But my point is you can kind of tell when you're in your genius zone. I have a whiteboard in my corner that has a genius target on it. And this is what we've now framed as the next level genius target. And I want to say this. Admitting a weakness is an empowering belief, not disempowering. Admitting a weakness is an empowering belief, not disempowering. Okay, when I admitted that alcohol was a weakness, that empowered me to now make a change. So if you're out there and you don't think you're that naturally intelligent, that's okay. Just admit it and now go get around really intelligent people. You see how that becomes an empowering thing? Rather than now, what some people do is, oh, I'm not intelligent, and then they just ruminate on that, rather than looking at their gifts as well. Okay, what are your gifts? What is your genius zone? My genius zone, the very center of the target is coaching and consulting. Now, at 33 years of age, I realize that is my genius zone. Second, training and speaking, particularly training, like workshop type of stuff. And then third is podcasting. That's the genius target that I stay in, and I don't stray from that much. Almost for anything. And business in particular with the coaching and consulting, speaking and training, and then the podcasting. And we're leaning more into business for that reason. My awareness of self is higher. But we want all of you to have a higher awareness of self. Everyone is good enough to participate. Not everyone is good enough to win. Not everybody is a winner by default. The Olympics has gold, it has silver, and it has bronze. And if everybody won gold, it would be meaningless. So where are you a winner? Where are you maybe not as strong? Just admit the weaknesses so that you can shore them up. It doesn't mean you can't participate. You still should participate. Just don't delude yourself, because delusion just doesn't lead to anything fulfilling.
And this ties into what we said earlier of you either believe in yourself too little or too much. There's some people that think they will win by default and never try. There are some people who feel like they could never win at anything and they don't try. So to Alan's point, what is it that you want? And get real honest with how good can you get at it. Like, that's okay. That's a reasonable thing to do, because you might surprise yourself and you may be way better. And this ties really nicely into our fifth and last point. And again, I don't want anybody to think we're being intentionally negative or we're trying to tear people down. I just know that there's a ton of bad advice out there that it's motivational to say you can accomplish anything with enough work. Number 5, you can do anything you set your mind to isn't actually true. Okay. Alan and I were on LinkedIn Live with David Meltzer months and months and months ago. And we were talking about podcasting. And he said, guys, what most people don't understand is to get to a David Meltzer level, to get to an Evan Carmichael level, to get to a Tom Bilyeu level, to get to a Joe Rogan level, is the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. Of, like, we're talking once in a lifetime, particularly Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's in a league of his own, billions and billions and billions of views. Like, that may never happen again. So I could very easily say, set your mind to being the best podcaster in the world and it'll happen. But I don't believe that's true anymore. I had a client who said, hey, I want to go all in on my podcast, and I'm thinking of leaving my job, and I'm going to start speaking and coaching, and I'm going to do what you guys did. And I said, I mean this with all the love in the world. You would be insane to quit your job right now. Do not do that. That will be the biggest mistake you've ever made in your entire life. Not because I don't think this person can be a successful podcaster. It's because this person will go broke. They are not in the position where they can build a business out of this. Some of my clients aren't there. That's okay. Some of my clients are there, and I push them in a different way. But you really, really have to to tie into that and be honest with yourself. And Alan and I have talked about this. Alan, I've said to him, we have to make sure we're giving the right advice to the right way, right advice in the right way to the right people. I have podcast clients who just won't win at the level we win at. Why? There's two of us. Alan is unreasonably intelligent and great at business and can see the future. I do 20 things a day every day. It's not that I don't believe in these people. It's that it would have, like, so much would have to go right, and they would really have to overhaul everything they do. It would have to be their only thing, and they'd have to do it for 16 hours a day because Alan and I are each working 12 hours a day. So they'd have to actually do it all day. So it's not that I believe in them any less than I should. It's I understand the deeper layer of Alan and I have worked every single day for the last 5 years each. Alan works more than I do. And we have never missed an episode, and I'm consistent, and Alan's consistent. We have a 13-person team. There's so much that goes into it that it would be very, very difficult for me to say to somebody, yeah, you can be where we are in 5 years. Can you? Yes. Are you willing and capable of doing what it takes? I don't know that yet. And if I said you could as a blanket statement, I'd be lying to you.
This one's really, really powerful, and we've only got 4 minutes on the clock, so I'm going to try to be brief. You can do anything you set your mind to isn't actually true. Again, these are 5 hard truths that will help you grow. There's a man by the name of Phil Heath, who's the #1 bodybuilder on the planet right now. And he literally admitted, he's like, I'm the type of guy who can go to the gym and can look at the weights and get bigger. He was being playful and facetious, but what he means is that he has really incredible genetics for bodybuilding. And no matter what I did, there's no way that I'm going to be at that level. And so you can do anything you set your mind to isn't actually true. We're talking about extremes here. Any one of you, if you really learned how and really invested intelligently and you really put in the work and were consistent over the next decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, you all could be millionaires. I know that to be true. But not every one of you could be billionaires. Do you see the difference? Kevin and I, again, heart-driven, but no BS. Not everyone's going to be a billionaire. Not everyone's going to be a trillionaire. Not everyone's going to achieve all of their dreams. Okay? If you do have skills, and you can be consistent, and you do have work ethic, and you do learn every single day, and you do read books and listen to podcasts and contemplate life constantly, if you do have tons of self-belief and keep the promises you make to yourself and consistently and sustainably build that belief, if you do have exceptional mentors and you do use your capital intelligently, then you can achieve what you set your mind to. Those are a lot of ifs. Okay, there is something out there called toxic positivity. Toxic positivity says I can put this belt around my waist and I can get fit by doing no work and plugging it in. That's not real. Okay, there is no quick fix. There is no magic bullet. There is no wishing checks into your bank account because you thought about it. There is hard work. There is skills. There is learning. There is hustle. There is collaboration. There is work ethic. There's virtue. Virtue is real. I'm reading a book right now called Courage is Calling. It's by Ryan Holiday. And he talks about virtue versus vice. He talks about the 4 chief virtues, one of them being courage. If you don't have courage alone, if Kevin didn't have the courage to quit his job, and by the way, that made sense for him back then, okay, because he had a lot saved and all that. And even that, you probably were a little reckless. Yeah.
Don't do that.
If he didn't have the courage to say, I'm going to start a podcast, if he didn't have the courage to be my first guest on Conversations Change Lives, if he didn't have the courage to have unreasonably challenging conversations with me basically every week for the last 5 years, if he didn't have the courage to work 12 hours a day, basically every day, it's not every day, but we neither one of us has, we can tell you, we've not taken a single week off since we started this. We've never even taken a full weekend off. Not everyone wants that. That's okay, right? So all we want for you, what level do I want to play at? And what am I willing to sacrifice to get it? Because I don't want you waking up 10, 20, 30 years down the road and ending up not achieving your dreams thinking it was all going to work out. And so again, I'm just going to do a quick recap here, okay? 5 hard truths that help you grow. Number one, your friends are unintentionally holding you back. They don't mean to, but their limiting beliefs are, and their lack of deeper understanding and their low awareness might be. Okay? Number two, you don't get what you want, you get what you're willing to work for. Number three, you either believe in yourself too little on the low end of Drive to 5 and you're hiding like a turtle shell, or you believe in yourself too much. You don't even think you need mentors. You don't think you need to read books. You don't think you need to step on stage. You just think you're going to win. It's all just going to work out. Number four, everyone is good enough to participate. Not everyone is good enough by default to win. Okay? If everybody wins, then the competition is meaningless. Okay? Number five, you can do anything you set your mind to isn't actually true. It's only true if you're in your genius zone and you can be consistent and courageous and all of the other virtues that we try to talk about on the podcast.
Heavy one tonight. Full disclosure, Alan and I were both nervous to do this because at the end of the day, it's not our goal to beat anybody up. But I just realized that there's a lot of fluff out there, particularly now. And it's like, Alan and I, let's just put it this way. Alan and I will never try to sell you something based on the fact that we're telling you it's easier than it will be. Because that's not an alignment for me. That's not an alignment for Alan. And our goal for this was we want to be heart-driven, but no BS, and we want to tell people the truth. And hopefully the people that hear this are ready for the truth, and hopefully they don't villainize us for saying it. But at the end of the day, that is what Next Level You is. It's our goal, it's our job, it's our responsibility, it's our purpose to help you get to the next level. And the hard truths have helped me get to the next level, and they will do the same for you as long as you're willing to look at them with humility. Amy has her mic prepared. I think there's a bird in her room because she was just looking at the ceiling. So let's see if we can help her eradicate said bird. Here we are.